The following is a sponsored program furnished by the Today's Home Remodeler television network.
Welcome to today's Home Remodeler. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, well, we're adding value to a home's lower level through the installation of an egress window. We'll begin with Mike Hoganson from Standard Water Control Systems, who introduces our project. Next, we'll walk through the installation process for adding an egress window to a home. Along the way, we'll learn why his crews dig the hole by hand, see how they saw an opening in the basement wall, and learn what you should look for in an egress window and window well. And we'll finish up today's show seeing the beautiful end result. So we have a lot to cover today, and we'll get started right after this message.
Would you like to increase the value of your home, but your basement has issues? Is it dark, damp, and smelly? Does it have persistent water damage or large structural cracks? Then look no further than Standard Water Control Systems. Established in 1977, Standard Water Control is the Upper Midwest's premier basement environment solutions company. By offering solutions such as their state-of-the-art drain tile systems, cutting-edge sub-slab ventilation, energy-efficient egress windows, crawl space encapsulation, and foundation stabilization and crack repair, Standard Water Control can solve virtually any issue with your home's lower level. From comfortable living rooms to safe, legal bedrooms, your basement can become a valuable addition to your home, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing your investment is protected. So don't fret about your basement. Instead, add value to your home. Call the professionals at Standard Water Control to see what they can do for you.
One of the best ways to add value to your home and create safe, usable, lower-level living space is to add an egress window in your basement. So on today's show, we'll learn more about that process as we catch up with Mike Hoganson from Standard Water Control Systems. Oh, what a beautiful fall day, and I gotta tell you, Mike, I'm impressed with the number of workers you have here. There's a lot of activity going on.
Yes, there is too. We've got a lot happening here. This homeowner loves this neighborhood, wants to stay here, but he also needs more space. So he wants to increase the value of his property, and what he's doing is he's remodeling the basement. As part of that, we're putting in a drain tile system with a sump pump, we're putting in 2 egress windows, and we're putting in a sub-slab ventilation system to help reduce that humidity.
Your company is doing all of those services.
Yes, we are, and we'll get it done in 2 days.
Wow, that's awesome for the homeowners, great peace of mind, and best of all, they really are increasing the value of their home by remodeling their basement.
Well, yes, they are. By adding an egress window, that gives them a legal bedroom. An egress window has to be a certain size, it has to be in the bedroom, so it'd be easy for somebody to get in and out in case of an emergency. You know, not just somebody getting out, but for the firemen to get in.
Okay, and so it has to be up to code. You said in this case they're actually doing 2 egress windows along with a drain tile system. Now, if I don't have water in my basement, I can still add an egress window, right?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. But the advantage to putting in drain tile with an egress window is we can put in a drain from the egress window and tie it into the drain tile to make sure that egress window never overflows into your basement. Again, it's added protection to protect belongings you have in the basement, your sheetrock, carpet, etc.
Well, that's the voice of an experienced professional for sure, Mike. Now, where are they going to be putting the egress windows?
Well, as part of the estimate, we discussed the future plans with the owner, and he decided that this is one of the areas he wanted an egress window. This is where the bedroom's going to be going in the basement, so this will be a smaller window. Right now they're using it to haul all the dirt and concrete in and out of the basement for the drain tile system that we're installing. Let's go around back and take a look at the other window they're working on right now, and we can talk about how big and deep and everything else.
Cool, let's go.
Okay, Stu, this is where we're going to be putting the other egress window. You can see that this is going to be a wider window than the other one because this is going to be the family room, and they wanted to get as much light as possible. This is going to be a double slider. This window is going to be 4'6" wide. Wow. The window well is going to be 66 inches wide, and we have to dig a hole here. We're digging by hand so as not to cause any damage to the homeowner's property. You know, some guys will come in with a mini excavator and then you'll have to spend thousands of dollars resodding.
Sure.
We dig it by hand, and we're going to be digging it down about 5 feet.
Wow, you know, that's a lot of back-breaking work. I'm looking at them, especially with wet, heavy clay soil. You know, it's no wonder they had a basement water problem here, not to mention the labor that's needed to dig this hole by hand.
That's a fact. This is the same soil you'll find underneath the floor, and it just doesn't drain.
Sure. So over 4 foot wide slider window, that's going to add some beautiful natural light to the basement.
Absolutely. It's going to make it feel like any part of living area of the home. And you're going to get a lot of light. It's going to make it seem just like a family room upstairs.
Sure. Okay, now long before they get to this stage, I'm sure there were some preparatory items that needed to be taken care of.
Of course, you had to pull the proper permits. You had to submit the proper drawings to the city, make sure that you're getting the proper header and so on. You had to go for State 1 call to make sure that there are no buried lines like gas lines or electrical lines.
Sure. Right here, for example, they're right next to where the gas comes into the house.
That's correct, Stu. You can see the gas line is right there. If that would have been over a few more feet, we couldn't have put the window here.
Sure. So again, hiring experienced professionals, they're going to know what needs to be done before you install it, and then it's going to be installed to code, and all the homeowner has to do is enjoy their new egress window.
Enjoy their new basement.
Well, one thing I like to see here is driving by this house, would have never expected that you could install an egress window in this location. I always thought you needed an existing window well or slope away. This is pretty much flat ground. It tells me that these can be installed in virtually any basement around the cities.
That's correct.
Okay, well, let's get out of their way, pick it up a little further along in the process when Scott's done digging this hole.
All right, sounds good.
Stay tuned. We'll see how they use a hydraulic ring saw to cut the opening for the egress window next, when we continue with today's Home Remodeler.
You get the towels and the squeegee. I'll get the shop vac.
Go back to sleep. I'll explain tomorrow.
By tomorrow, we're gonna have an inch of water in the basement.
Nope. I had standard water control. Fix it for good.
Standard water control. When?
When you were on your golf trip, turn off the light, will ya?
I can go to sleep?
Please.
For real peace of mind, call or visit standardwater.com today.
Now let's learn more about the process for adding an egress window to a home's lower level as we continue with Mike Hoganson from Standard Water Control Systems.
Okay, Stu, let's take a look at how they're coming on this egress window.
Wow, they made some great headway here. That's a beautiful looking hole.
Yeah, it's a big one. A lot of dirt came out of there, heavy clay soil. Yeah, well, they dug it by hand, Stu. It's about 5 feet deep. And they took all this by buckets and hauled it out to the truck.
Sure, there's a lot of material removed. I also see they had to scrape off and remove some of the sprayed on insulation on top of the block.
That's correct. That's so we can cut the block out and we have room for the egress window well to get attached directly to the block.
Okay, so the next step in the process then is just that, sawing through and removing that?
Well, what we have to do now, they mark the block off. You can see the lines on both sides where they're going to be using this hydraulic ring saw to cut through the block, and then they'll use a sledgehammer to knock it out.
Wow, you have quite an investment in machinery, and whether we're talking the drain tile or the egress windows. I mean, that's a mark of a professional company. You weren't afraid to make the investment.
You got to have the right tools for the job.
And it's not low-end stuff. This is high-end equipment.
It's very expensive, but it saves a lot of time, and it makes for a great job.
That's going to be a huge opening. You said it was 4 feet. It looks even larger than that to accommodate all the materials.
Oh, the framing as well. You've got to put framing in and a header and so on. So they'll use the ring saw to cut it down, and then they're going to knock it out with a good old-fashioned maul.
You know, like one question that pops into mind for me is this appears to be a load-bearing wall. If you're removing quite a bit of block down there, isn't that a concern?
Yes, it is, Stuart. You've got to know what you're doing here. This is a load-bearing wall, and when you remove this block, you have to put the proper framing back in with a header across to support the weight. This is one of the things that the inspectors review before they even issue the permits.
Sure. So again, you want to hire a professional, very experienced contractor, one who's getting all the permits, is properly licensed, so that you have the peace of mind it's going to be done correctly. Well, let's get out of the way. Let Scott and his crew get busy with the sawing process and the removal of the block. We'll pick it up during the installation.
Sounds good, Stu.
Stick around. We'll learn what to look for in an egress window and window well next, when we continue with today's Home Remodeler.
Would you like to increase the value of your home, but your basement has issues? Is it dark, damp, and smelly? Does it have persistent water damage or large structural cracks? Then look no further than Standard Water Control Systems. Established in 1977, Standard Water Control is the Upper Midwest's premier basement environment solutions company. By offering solutions such as their state-of-the-art drain tile systems, cutting-edge sub-slab ventilation, energy-efficient egress windows, crawl space encapsulation, and foundation stabilization and crack repair, Standard Water Control can solve virtually any issue with your home's lower level. From comfortable living rooms to safe, legal bedrooms, your basement can become a valuable addition to your home, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing your investment is protected. So don't fret about your basement. Instead, add value to your home. Call the professionals at Standard Water Control to see what they can do for you.
While Scott and the crew from Standard Water Control continue prepping the opening for the new egress window, let's take a moment to learn more about the two main components that were selected for this project: the escape well and the egress window itself.
Stu, there's two major components in our egress window systems. One is the window well and the other is the window. The window well is made by Scape Well. It's a top quality window well we've been installing for years. It comes with a 5-year warranty. I really like its step design. It comes in 2 different sizes, either 2-tier or 3-tier, and 2 different widths, either 54 or 66 inches wide. It is structural foam for strength and will last forever. It'll never get rust, rot, or get eaten by bugs.
Again, great peace of mind for the homeowner. And now it makes sense to me why they were stepping down when they were digging all the back walls of it, and that's to accommodate these steps here. So someone leaving in an emergency can just walk up a set of stairs, essentially.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about the window options that are out there?
Well, there's many different options, but we like using Silverline by Anderson, made in Minnesota for our climate. We've had a lot of good luck with it. It's a quality window, and when we do a job, I want to make sure we get the best quality products available. You know, we don't want any callbacks. Also, it comes in 4 nice, beautiful colors.
Okay, very neutral tones. That's awesome. It's going to match up with virtually any siding, so that's well thought out.
That's correct. Now, this is made for an egress window.
And what separates an egress window from, say, a different window on the first floor?
Well, it's got to open to a full 90 degrees, you know, so that there's no obstructions. Let me show you how that works. I like the easy operating mechanism here, and when I crank it open, it comes to a full 90-degree angle.
Oh, I see what you mean. So if someone is in there and they need to escape, there's plenty of room to crawl out into the window well itself and get away from the structure.
Exactly, and it meets that 5.7 square feet that we need for egress. Also, it comes with a locking mechanism with 3 points.
Oh yeah, you can see them right over here. So that's probably good for security as well as energy efficiency.
Pulls it in nice and tight.
Okay, and as far as configurations, this is a casement, but on this project alone, I know earlier, weren't they putting in a slider out back?
Well, there's a couple of options, yes. This one here is the casement window that we're going to be putting in the front of the house. Depending on what you're going to be using the space for, this is a bedroom and they didn't want a large window. The other is a slider that we're putting in the family room. So that lets more light in and makes it more like a living room.
So whatever the window needs are for your household, there is an egress window that can accommodate them.
That's correct, sir.
As Mike mentioned earlier, these homeowners were looking to create some safe, usable living space in their home's lower level. But before they could move forward with their plan, they first needed to solve a basement water problem and find a way to help rid their home of the unpleasant odors associated with a wet basement. Most frustrating for them was the fact that they already had an existing drain tile system that failed. Fortunately for them, Standard Water Control was able to help them with both issues. By installing a new worry-free drain tile and sub-slab ventilation system, these homeowners can rest assured that their lower-level investment is safe. Now let's learn more about the sub-slab ventilation system that will help reduce humidity and dampness by drying out their basement floor and block walls, while removing the unwanted odors and organic gases from their home's lower level.
Say, Stu, as we're heading down to the basement to see how the guys are doing, I wanted to talk to you about this sub-slab ventilation system that I was talking about earlier.
Sure.
Okay, this is the U-tube, or it's a manometer. It'll let you know whether the fan is operating or not. Right now you can tell it's straight across, so the fan is not operating. If the fan was working, this would be sucking up and one side would be higher than the other. So what we did is we ran the pipe up the wall from the drain tile system through the rim joist where we installed a fire collar.
Okay, so the red collars around there, and that's by code.
Right, we have one up on top and one on bottom. That goes up into the garage attic where we'll install the fan. Now this is a continuous run fan. It'll run 24/7. It's very quiet. You won't hear it. It'll pull the humidity out from underneath the slab, also circulate the air through the blocks, therefore drying out the blocks, drying out the basement, and reducing the humidity.
Boy, that's an awesome looking fan. Is it pretty efficient since it's running all the time?
Oh, it's very efficient. I've had one running in my home for about 15 years and never a problem. And very quiet, much quieter than a dehumidifier. If you consider the options and reducing your humidity, this is much cheaper to operate. It takes about $3 a month.
Oh, compared to a dehumidifier, what are they, about 20 bucks a month?
Right, right. So this will be up in the attic, out of sight, out of mind, and just run continuously.
Okay, so where is it vented then? I mean, this goes up then through the roof?
Right. Yeah, it would go right through the roof, so any soil gases or any humidity will just keep on going up into the air.
Great option for homeowners looking to reduce the humidity in their lower level, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, let's go downstairs and take a look and see how the guys are doing.
Stick around. We'll learn more about the installation process and see the beautiful end result next when we continue with today's Home Remodeler.
You get the towels. I'll get the mop and bucket.
Mom, Dad, you guys eat.
What are you doing?
It's pouring. The basement's gonna flood. We told you what standard water did for us.
They were great, and our basement's been dry ever since.
And you get a lifetime warranty. So I get to sleep.
It was the best money we ever spent. Why haven't you called them?
Well, dear, why haven't we called them?
Tomorrow! I'll call them tomorrow!
Visit standardwater.com today.
Now let's see the attention to detail that's required to complete the installation of this egress window as we finish up with Mike Hoganson from Standard Water Control Systems. Oh, Mike, what a beautiful installation of this egress window. I tell you, there's no substitute for an experienced crew. I mean, they made it look easy, but I know it was a lot of hard work. Now, when we last left, they were doing some real hard work, and that was using a maul to knock out the concrete block. What got us to this point from there?
Well, after that, after they knocked the block out and they hauled all the block out to the truck, Scott took the measurements, and then he went out and custom made all the necessary wood components in our mobile shop.
Really? So custom made for each application? I mean, that's pretty cool. That's an impressive shop on wheels.
Yeah, it's got planers and saws and everything all built into it, generator and so on. If you recall, we talked about how this was a load-bearing wall.
Sure, I can see the floor joists up there right now. As a matter of fact, there's about 4 of them, and that was a big concern, right?
Right, and Scott had to custom made the header up there.
And the header, of course, is right up above the window here, and that's a very important component.
Yeah, it takes the load from upstairs. And did you notice that there's a gas line up there, Stu?
Oh my gosh, look at how close they were sawing. I mean, and that's a great case in point in why you don't want to do this yourself and you don't want to hire an inexperienced contractor.
That's correct. It's a beautiful window, lets in a lot of light. Have you tried opening it and see how it operates yet?
Oh, is that nice and smooth? And look at how big it is. I mean, it's just amazing how it transforms this basement.
It also has a removable screen.
Oh, that's nice. So you can open it up to allow fresh air into your lower level.
And you can get things in and out of the basement that you wouldn't be able to get down the stairs.
Oh, that's a great point. Okay, so what was involved in installing the framing?
Well, after they made the components, they came back and they caulked in the block, and then they laid the wood on top of the block and Tapconned it to the block. On the sides here, again, they used Tapcons to hold it to the block and with caulking. Then they insulated all the way around.
Yeah, they used a spray foam insulation, and that makes real sense to me because you have a very energy efficient window. The last thing you want is an inefficient installation, and by foaming around there, you're going to stop any air infiltration.
That's correct. It was very important, too, that they ground down the wood on the outside at a 45-degree angle for drainage per code. And then we put in the protector wrap so any water that might get in there can go out. And then they use protector wrap all the way around the outside to prevent moisture migration in as well.
It seems to me there's a lot of attention to detail went into this, and I assume all of your window installations.
That's correct.
Well, now let's head outside. I want to learn more about that scape well.
Sounds good, Stu.
Wow, Mike, this is beautiful out here. Now it makes sense to me when you said it was a stepped system. I really can see how it fit into this hole so nicely, the way it was dug out.
Yeah, so you see how convenient it would be to get out of here?
Sure.
And if a homeowner wanted to, they could put flowers or whatever in each one of these steps and really make it more beautiful looking from the inside out.
And I also liked what you had mentioned earlier about how not only in an emergency situation getting out, but if you need to bring something down into your basement and you don't want to fish it down the stairs and everything, here's an easy access to it.
Absolutely. Now, one thing you'll notice is that we put a lot of gravel in the base. And what that's for is drainage. So in case water gets in here, it doesn't overflow into the basement. We also put a drain from the gravel into our system.
That was pretty cool. I mean, and I understand why, because it went right into the hollow block. So any water, the rainwater that falls in there, snow melt, whatever it might be, actually enters the block down to the base of it through those holes you guys drilled, past the diamond drainage board and into your system.
That's correct, Stu, so we don't have to worry about it ever overflowing.
You know, I do have one question for you. I know why you have the gravel down low, obviously, to facilitate that, but I noticed the guys putting gravel all the way around the outside of the escape well.
That's true, and the reason for that is they act like little ball bearings, so as the frost comes, it can't grab the window well and lift it out of the ground.
Wow, this really is a slick system. And you said it's very securely fastened to the structure?
Well, that's one of the things I really like. You know those galvanized window wells, you look at them and at the bottom they're caving in?
Oh yeah, they're all beat up. Yeah.
Well, what happens is, you know, to put those in properly, you have to dig a hole 6 feet deep for a guy to actually get down in there to drill on the outside to anchor it. Well, here, we can anchor it on the inside and the pressure will never push it in.
Oh, gotcha. So no wonder you as a long-standing company around here installing egress windows, that's why you selected the escape well system.
It's an excellent system.
Now, how did you finish off the window installation out here?
Well, it was important, first of all, Stu, that Scott put a drip edge in there. That goes up behind the siding.
Okay, that's that white piece right above the cedar board.
That's correct. This is the drip edge, and it comes 2 inches up, so no water can get back behind the window. Then they trimmed it out with rough cut cedar so the homeowner could paint it any color they want, or maybe they want to stain it.
Really? That's awesome. So again, a lot of flexibility, not only with the different colors that Andersen Windows offers, but leaving it rough sawn cedar like that, the homeowner can stain it to whatever they want.
That's true.
Well, you know, it's been a fascinating project to follow. I just marvel at the transformation of this home. I mean, the basement drain tile system, the sub-slab ventilation system, and now the 2 new egress windows. They've added significant value to their home, but better yet, they're going to be able to enjoy comfortable living space in their basement.
All done in 2 days.
Well, I appreciate you walking us through the process.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching today's Home Remodeler. And if you'd like more information on the products and services seen on today's show, please visit standardwater.com.
The preceding was a sponsored program, furnished by the Today's Home Remodeler television network. Would you like to increase the value of your home, but your basement has issues? Is it dark, damp, and smelly? Does it have persistent water damage or large structural cracks? Then look no further than Standard Water Control Systems. Established in 1977, Standard Water Control is the Upper Midwest's premier basement environment solutions company. By offering solutions such as their state-of-the-art drain tile systems, cutting-edge sub-slab ventilation, energy-efficient egress windows, crawl space encapsulation, and foundation stabilization and crack repair, Standard Water Control can solve virtually any issue with your home's lower level. From comfortable living rooms to safe, legal bedrooms, your basement can become a valuable addition to your home, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing your investment is protected. So don't fret about your basement. Instead, add value to your home. Call the professionals at Standard Water Control to see what they can do for you.